Okay, so I am, first of all, welcome. But also, I didn't really want to go into so much fluff. So I've been testing out the Insta360 Luna Ultra, and there are a few things that I have noticed. And so this video is going to be more about my first impressions. Now, I do remember when, because the DJI Pocket 3 was so popular, loads of people got the camera. I think it was the highest selling camera for, like, is it 2025 or something like that? But anyways, one of the main gripes of people with that camera is that you can't turn it off completely and have the gimbal face the correct direction when you got a filter on it, because there isn't, because obviously the filter would add some more, I guess, obstruction when the lens twists to shut off. So you can't really turn it off completely. That was resolved by the Pocket 4. But interestingly, I tested it on here. Okay, so watch closely as I turn the camera off. Yeah, it's doing the same thing the Pocket 3 did. You can't properly turn it off and close it, as normally this would be facing inside there to protect the lenses, but it's not doing that because the filter is there, and that filter is quite thick, right? So if you didn't like that on the Pocket 3, I know the Pocket 4 resolved that by putting in a little bit more space in between the lens and the actual gimbal head. But this didn't resolve it. So yeah, just FYI there. However, you can keep the lens on the actual camera right there. See that? It's there. And then put it in the case like so, and still be able to close the case. So you can do that. Right, I'm also trying to pair the DJI Mic Mini to the Luna Ultra, and it's not finding it. It's saying that no Bluetooth device is available. Let's just see. It's still searching at the moment, but yeah, no device found. And I can confirm that it is the same the other way around. I tried the Insta360 Mic Pro to attach to the Nano, and it also doesn't pair. They can't find each other. So when I did a quick Google, you actually need to use the receivers and attach them to the camera so that they will work. So the receiver that I have for my Mini is not the mobile receiver, it's the actual receiver that goes onto a camera, like this one. So that's going to be a bulky addition if I wanted to do that. And also, I don't have the receiver for the Insta360 to attach to the Nano, but even if I did, that would make the Nano about a third more bulky. So I understand the marketing strategy behind that they probably just want to keep to their own brands and make sure that you buy their own brand equipment. But yeah, no. Anyways, I'm gonna leave the Nano. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna take the Nano home just because I'm doing NC filter on here, and I'm also doing NC filter on here. I want to compare the image quality. They're both on the highest setting because the Nano does not have the capacity to change the intensity of the filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep both of them on the highest setting. All right, and then we'll compare the image quality side by side. Okay, so obviously the first thing that I really wanted to test out with this Luna is this detachable screen and remote. I don't know how I feel about it because it's kind of like a weird. I suppose I can do it vertically, but even if I do, there's still that protrusion on that side, so it's not completely flat. Plus, I always film horizontal anyway. But it's a good to have. Like, would I have missed it if I didn't have it? I don't know. I've used my pockets without remotes for like years, and it never really occurred to me that I. Well, no, there were some instances where I've had to actually use the Mimo app to start viewing myself and filming myself. I don't know if you can see that, but it is kind of pixelated, and I am. It's not kind of. It says weak signal, recording unaffected, and this is like what 6 inches from the actual camera. Yeah, but it's super pixelated. I can't really make out my face. But yeah, yeah. I don't know how effective that is if that's the case. If you can't even like really tell what you're looking at. But yeah, it's supposed to have like a microphone. I wasn't obviously pointing it at myself at the start, so I don't know how that impacted the audio or if it's clearer when I do it that way. Probably. I didn't choose whether it should be omnidirectional or if it should just be like coming from the front. Um, it is very light. I am afraid of like that this losing this because as a menopausal well no perimenopausal woman, I do have brain fog sometimes where I would put something down, it'll be right in front of me and I would not remember what I'm looking for or so yeah, just putting it out there that if you are of a certain age like myself and you may be looking for this as your vlogging camera, if you're experiencing any kind of like brain fog, just putting it out there that make sure you remember to take this with you because it would be an awful experience if you ended up with just the camera without this little bit here. Okay. I don't know how often I'm going to use it detached, especially since I can tell that the screen becomes pixelated once it's away or detached from the main camera. But yeah, that's what that looks like. It's got like two buttons on the side that helps you release it. Um, Sorry. The other thing that I had noticed quite early on from using this is the joystick and the zoom slider kind of too firm. Is that like it's not it's not sensitive. How do I say that? Yeah, well, I guess that like you have to like really press on it to make it move. Like I remember complaining about the DJI Pocket 3 once I got the Pocket 4, about like how much easier it is to use a joystick on the Pocket 4 because it reacts very quickly when you try to move it around. The other thing that I noticed was that, yeah, you have to really press on the slider for it to. Oh, that's not a very flattering look. For it to actually move. And I've set this up so that the zoom would be done slowly. So I'm gonna point you at something else because I look awful. Um, but yeah. Now I'm gonna try and see if this would react. I think the flip camera is here. No, this is recenter, the other one. There we go. So even when recording, it will do that, and I assume that it would just because the pockets do that as well. But I can. You see, that felt a little too jerky, too abrupt, too mechanical, because I can control the speed of the zoom. Like if I wanted to be like a little bit more like cinematic in the way I zoom in, I can do that. See? But I cannot control the speed of the actual gimbal panning, whether it tilts up or down or on the sides. I can't control it. So when I see how I can zoom out like really slow, but you can see as well when it moves from 2x to 3x, there is a jump. See? Right. That's what I was kind of afraid of, that it wouldn't be a smooth transition between the two lenses when you're moving them. But also like I said, I can't control the gimbal speed, whether it pans or tilts. So if I want to move it there, it does it very quickly and sometimes jerkily and very abruptly. I can see though, and this is pretty good, I feel like the, what's the right term? I can't remember, like how far it can go around. Like this is the most that it will go, which I would say is about maybe a 270, maybe even 300 degrees around. And then the most it will do on the other side is up to here. But you can already tell on this side here, so you see, that's the end of that yoga mat that I showed you a little bit earlier, right? So it's, I would say it's probably like 320 degrees it can do, right? I don't know what the actual numbers are. Like I said, I don't read the boxes, I don't read the manuals, I just do this. However, yeah. All right. Now I'm gonna try to get ready because I have a doctor's appointment today. And I will take this with me so that I can show you how it films outside. I gotta say, my umbrella feels lighter than the actual camera. Like my folding umbrella from Uniqlo, lighter. But also, I wanted to test out the microphone on this while we're outside, because obviously inside the house there's less ambient noise, but out here, especially on this busy street, definitely have more noise to deal with. So I wanted to see how well it was gonna, yeah. So this is the NC filter in high intensity, and yeah. Okay, this is interesting. So I turned on the camera and then I turned on the microphone, and it didn't automatically connect. And then when I looked at it and tried to connect it again by tapping on to the screen, it just gave me wireless mic firmware version 2 low. Please connect to the app and upgrade to the latest version for normal use. Okay, so you guys need to make sure that both your microphone and your camera are upgraded to the latest firmware, otherwise you will encounter this issue. So after I've updated that, I'm tapping. It says tap to connect, and then that should have worked, but it's telling me that it's failed and to check again. Okay, so this seems like a good location to try the zoom. That's the Crown Casino at the end there, covered in clouds. And then I've got the actual Nano there. Obviously this can't zoom as much as the Luna can, so we'll see. Now here we go. I think you need to get used to the zooming bit, because you can see that it moves out of frame a lot. Okay, it's going back to, yeah, and then there's that jerky transition from 3x to 1x. There you go. Image voice looks really good though. We've got the Sydney Eye Tower there. Let's see if we can zoom into that. It's also hidden behind the clouds. Yep. There you go. That didn't have a little bit of a jerky thing earlier. There it is. but that's pretty good zoom capacity. And I've got the wide angle lens on, but you can tell that when you've got the wide angle lens on, you've got the there's distortion on the flagpole. Yes, there's a flag connected to that. It's just not windy today. Yeah. So here's a slow walking clip. See if it has that bobbing thing. That's 2x. 3x. 6x. And 12x. And when you press it again twice from 12x, it goes out. So that's what the NC film tone looks like in full intensity. Okay, here's a better look at the Sydney Eye Tower. I don't know how I feel about that jerky transition. And I do wonder if it's going to be the same with the DJI Pocket 4P. It probably will be. Okay, this is what it looks like with a wide angle lens on. I've also got the microphone on, so hopefully you're not hearing all of this noise. But I'm going to take off the lens. And that's what it is without the wide angle lens. Let's recenter that. That's normal, 20 mm. Wide angle, 15 mm. Okay, so this area is called Martin Place. It's also where the big expensive shops are. And yeah, you can see Burberry there. And on the right, that's actually a hotel. It used to be the post office of Sydney. Then it became a hotel. I think now it's the Fullerton. It used to be the, what was it, a Westin. Yeah, this one, number 1 Martin Place. This is where we'd usually do the Christmas tree lighting. So you've got like all offices and shops around this area, some dining establishments, and right there in the middle is Lest We Forget, a tribute to the men and women who sacrificed their lives in the wars that Australia joined. To our glorious dead, it says. Right? This is what I love about Sydney. It's the juxtaposition of heritage buildings with modern architecture. Alright, so we're here at the most iconic view of Sydney, and I thought I'd do the zoom in, zoom out test here. I can also confirm that once you've turned off the camera and the microphone, as soon as you turn them back on, they reconnect to each other. So here's a zoom of the Sydney Opera House. If you have ever been curious about what it actually looks like up close, that's what they look like. There we go. That's a pretty good zoom, man. And then here is the Sydney Harbour Bridge, where the New Year fireworks are set off. There are two flags on the top of that at this point you cannot see. But as we zoom in, you should be able to tell that one of them is the Australian flag and that the other is the Aboriginal flag. And then when I start zooming out, you will also see the ferries that travel from Circular Quay to Manly into other parts of Sydney. There we go. I don't know how I feel about how this processes the clouds. Yeah, but because it's a cloudy day, it's actually quite nice to see the contrast between the white and the green and the blue and whatever other colors you can see. Okay, so I'm almost done with editing this part of the video, and I just wanted to address a few things. So I haven't done any of the other film tones. I haven't tested the other film tones. I plan to. I haven't tested iLog just because I don't care about log. Whether it's D-Log, D-Log-M, D-Log2, iLog, I don't care. Honestly, I don't. I use my Nano, which has D-Log, with the filters. Okay, because I am very lazy with editing and I don't want to color correct. Okay, so I don't care about the log profiles. I do care about the filters on this camera, so I will test those out. I haven't done the slow motions. I know it's only up to a 120. The DJI 4P is up to 240. This has got 8K. Honestly, don't care. I don't know anyone who watches anything in 8K. I don't do professional videos that would need 8K. Most of the people I know and those that watch my videos are either doing it on their laptops, mostly on their phones. 1080p is okay with phones, to be honest with you. 4K is plenty and 8K is overkill. So I don't care about 8K. If you are looking to find footage about 8K, this ain't the channel for that, okay? I will test out the slow motion when I test out the film tones. And what else is there? Yeah. I don't know if I have to do a video about the microphone just because I'm not an audio person. I only ever use the microphones in the practical way that you need to use it. I don't know enough of it to talk about it. And also, I know you can change the phase of it with like LED and stuff, but I don't really care about that. I find this really big and bulky, especially when I'm comparing it to my DJI Mini. Yeah, like even just the wind muff is twice as big as the Mini. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the microphone. I don't know enough about audio to be able to speak about it. I don't even know much about video to be able to speak well about it. Okay, so yeah, that's just to sort of like set your expectations on what would be coming next in terms of videos about the Lunta Ultra. Okay, once I've tested it out thoroughly and have actually used it in the practical ways that I, a non-professional, non-tech person, would use it, then I'll let you know what my thoughts are and whether I would keep this super expensive camera, because I know I've said this in the unboxing. This was 1,549 Australian dollars, okay, for the vlogger combo. If I only wanted to get the just the camera, the standard combo, that would have set me back 1,229 Australian dollars still. Okay, so I'm having a difficult time convincing myself that this camera is so great that I am happy to keep it. I'm just being honest. Look, practical. I am not sponsored by any company. I buy stuff with my own money, and to shell out 1,500 Australian dollars for a camera, I have to be 100% in love with it. Okay, right. So yeah, I'll come back to you guys with a few more footage tests and let you know my final thoughts in a few more videos that coming. Okay, thanks. Bye.